Have you ever had a moment, a day, maybe a month, maybe a whole year, maybe several years if you're lucky, where you felt like you were in the right place at the right time with the right people, really, really getting what you want, achieving what you wanted, really just kind of felt like life was going right. There was an ease to it and just felt really great. Because basically, that is a particular zone, if you will, when you're in that place. We refer to it as being in the zone, and I know that a lot of you have heard of that place. Some people call it being in flow. I refer to it as being in the zone, right place, right time, right people, doing the right things. There's an ease to it. Life is going well, getting what you want. So let me give you a story and tell you how that happened in my life. So in 2005, I came to work here full time in 2004, and in 2005, we had a client who actually played on the PGA Tour golf. For those of you who don't know what that is, and so every year, and I looked it up so I could give you the exactness of it. Every year in February, the PGA Association or whatever, they actually play as the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. And that is in Pebble Beach, California, right next to Carmel or in Carmel. And so I was invited to go to this tournament to see our client play, and by the player and his wife. And I was given 20 free tickets so that I could invite a lot of clients to attend this event. And at this event, there's a lot of famous people that show up and play in this tournament. Okay. So I was beside myself. I mean, I had 20 tickets. It took me 24 hours to get 20 prospects or 20 possible people that was interested in what I was doing to actually want to go to that event with me. So it was a great network marketing event as well. So what happened was, I remember flying into California, and as soon as I went to get my rental car, the people at the rental place said, "Mrs. Stanford, we've upgraded you at no charge to an SUV." And I'm like, "Really?" And I'm like, "Why?" And they're like, "Well, just wanted to upgrade you." And so that was the first thing that was kind of magical, that I didn't ask for, that I just absolutely loved. And then when I was driving down to Pebble Beach, I got a phone call from someone in San Francisco, another great friend of mine. And he said, "Oh, by the way," he says, "I've ordered a masseuse that's going to be driving down from San Francisco, and he will be doing massages for the client of ours who was playing on the PGA Tour and his wife." And he said, "I've ordered one for you too." And I was like, "Really?" I mean, I was like pinching myself. And so the next day, the first day right before the tournament started, my friend and I had gone over to Pebble Beach, the golf course, and I was just standing there in line. We were walking around, and I made the comment to her like, "Oh my gosh, I would love it if I could run into Samuel L. Jackson, the actor, because he was one of the players in the tournament." And there was a person nearby that I didn't know who they were. They didn't know who I was, but they overheard me, and they said, "Well, if you want to see him, he just went into that building over there, and he's having lunch up at that pub." And I'm like, "You're kidding me." He's like, "No, just went in there. He's also with George Lopez." And I was like, "Oh my God." So my friend and I'm like, "Let's go over there." And she's like, "We can't get in there." And I'm like, "Why not? It's just a restaurant." So she's like, "Okay, let's go try." So we go in this building, we go upstairs, and we go to the door to get into the restaurant. And there the hostess is nowhere to be found. We're standing there and we're waiting. And we see, and we're not even sure if you have to have a hostess. But anyway, there's one table left in the restaurant. I'm not kidding you, in the pub, whatever. So we go over and we sit down and get this table. And I look over to the table next to me, and you won't believe it. Samuel L. Jackson and George Lopez and several of their friends were sitting right next to my table. I couldn't believe it. So that is a time when I was definitely in the zone. Everything went right. It was such ease and so much fun. All 20 people came to the event. They had the time of their life. And that's being in the zone. Now, being in the zone is more than just a good idea, okay? It is a state. Again, it is it's a state when you're there, okay? And there's certain things you can do to put yourself in the zone. But what I found interesting was McKinsey and Company conducted a 10-year study. And what they actually did was they observed a group of executives to basically see what are the differences between the executives that are in that state, in that zone, in the flow, versus the ones that are performing outside that state, kind of below that level. And here are some interesting statistics. So the executives that were in the zone operating in that state, basically their ability to learn increased 230%. Their productivity increased by 500%. They noticed that these executives that played in the zone, was able to be in that state, they could do in one day on a Monday what it took the rest of the executives to do all week. Not kidding you. That's how different life is when you're in that zone. So if you like that story, and if it's a place you'd like to hang out and try it, and I know if you're listening to this, you've probably had moments, hours, days, months, maybe a few weeks, maybe years when you've been in the zone, but you didn't know what it was called. Well, that's what it's called. So after you finish watching this, here's what I'd like you to do. Make a list of all the times that you remember being in the zone. And then go through each one of those experiences and write down what happened, and make sure you describe those details vividly, like I did. I mean, I could even get more vivid, but I wanted to give you more data than just my story. I wanted to tell you how I got there and some things you could do. So write down what happened and make sure you describe those details best that you can, as vivid as you can. And the reason why it's so important to describe those details is, first of all, you'll see some of the actions that you took in order to get yourself in that place, okay, to be in that zone. And then the third thing I want you to do is I'd like for you to get the idea of you being in the zone, where everything is working, where there's an ease to it. You're just in the right place at the right time, doing the right things, and productivity's high, you're achieving what you want. And then if for any reason, because I run into this sometimes, if you don't recall yourself ever having one of those in the zone moments, it's okay. All I want you to do is go to step 3 of this process, of this exercise. And I want you to get the idea of being in the zone, which is in the right place at the right time, connected to the right people, achieving what you want. There's an ease to it. And there's a high mood level that goes with it. And then you will feel a shift in your mood level or a positive change. So that's it. And I'll see you next week. Thank you.